Hey table tennis junkies, in this week's video I'll be teaching you the short backspin shovel serve. This was a request from a prior video, so remember if you have any serve requests, put them in the comments and I'll make a video for it. Also, if you find my videos helpful for your game, then please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out as I continue to grow, and with that being said, let's get started. Let's start with the grip. You really have two good options for the grip on the serve. You can either hold it like you would for the pendulum serve, like this with the index finger up, or you can just use the standard shake hands or pen hold grip, so just with the index finger on the side, and you just kind of come around it like this or like this. Either of those grips will work, and you should choose the one that feels best and the one that will generate you the best spin. For me, my grip on this serve actually goes against some of my advice in previous videos. So for the topspin serve, I hold it like this, similar to the pendulum serve. And for the backspin, I actually hold it more just as my standard shake hands grip. The reason I do this is because when I change the grip for my shovel backspin serve to be the same as the grip for my shovel topspin serve, for some reason I have a really tough time staying underneath the ball to keep that backspin on it. So I ended up trying just like keeping my standard shake hands grip, and it really helped me to generate better backspin on it. You might ask then, why I don't just use the shake hands grip for both the topspin and the backspin if I'm gonna have them be the same? And it's a fair question, but what happened in my game is I actually learned the topspin shovel serve first with this other grip, and it was such a weapon in my game, and it has been. It's won me so many points, so many matches because of that good solid hook serve with this other grip, that when I tried to change it, it was a really big hit for my game. And so I ended up just sticking with the two different grips, with the topspin serving it this way, the backspin serving it this way. It's not ideal and I don't recommend it for most players, but it's worked for my game. I'll show you the stroke here, but what I really want you to watch for is how I approach the ball and the height of my racket as I hit the ball. So I'm not starting up here or down here. I'm just starting pretty level with the contact point of the ball. So I'm just kind of coming around and then through and underneath it this way. Another thing to watch for is my wrist motion and how little there actually is here. My wrist is pretty locked and tight as I do this stroke. Here it is. Let's go over the stroke for the serve. So the starting point is actually a huge key to getting good backspin on this serve. I like to approach the ball from almost the same height as the ball. So I'm just gonna reach back kind of around my body a little bit, but it's right around the same height as where I'm gonna contact the ball. This is gonna help me get good backspin and to keep it short and low. Remember that there are two good ways of generating backspin. The first is just by coming underneath the ball, and the other way is by coming down the back of the ball. Either way, the ball is going to spin this direction. I tend to go underneath the ball more for short serves and down the back of the ball more for fast serves. So with this serve, with it being short, I'm going to be coming in underneath the ball this way. To get the side spin on the serve, the first thing I do is I kind of hook my wrist like this, and then I'm going to start kind of behind my body. And as I swing on this, it's kind of like a half circle where I'm carving around the outside of the ball. My wrist is pretty stiff on this. I don't really have a whole lot of wrist motion. I'm really relying a lot on my arms to generate that spin. When I was first learning this serve, I had trouble getting really heavy backspin on it. So one of the mistakes I made was I was coming around the ball and I wasn't getting underneath it very well. So as you're coming around it, make sure that you're still getting underneath it and not just on the side, because that side spin, it will kind of overtake the backspin and turn it into more of just like a side spin ball. You really want to have that backspin and the side spin. So as you're approaching it, you want to hit underneath the ball and make sure you're really hitting that southern hemisphere. Let's talk about the stance. It's pretty similar to the pendulum serve or the other hook serves or the reverse pendulum serves. They're all pretty much the same, where you'll want to have your left foot in front And I like to be really close to the table, so my left leg is actually brushing up against the table as I serve this one. After doing this serve, I'm going to step out of it a little bit, but I'm going to want to stay pretty close to the table for the third ball. Remember from my video last week that if you serve something that's short, low, and with backspin, you'll be limiting your opponent to either a short push or a long push. And in either case, you want to play close to the table, because if it goes short, you're going to want to step in and push that one or do something with that one. And if they play long, you're going to want to play close to the table, because you'll be looping a backspin ball. You're going to want to get your legs underneath you. So if you were to back up after this serve and your opponent is limited to some sort of push, you're just going to have to step back in again, which doesn't really make any sense. So after this serve, you want to play pretty close to the table. Okay, so how would I return this serve if someone did it to me? All right, so this serve is most commonly done into the short forehand, because that's where the side spin is going to be the most effective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be opening my wrist up this way and then coming under the ball. I'll need to open my wrist to account for the side spin, and to account for the backspin, I'll have to come under it. So my stroke is going to come in something like this. And generally, I'm going to be trying to play the ball short, so as a return, I'll probably be trying to drop shot it. That way, it'll prevent my opponent from attacking it, because I'm an aggressive player and I'm always looking for the attack and trying to prevent my opponent from attacking. So I'll try to play short and then look for the attack on the next ball. All right, so let's recap. Remember to approach the ball from the side, but also stay under the ball. And I like to go a little bit more forward on the stroke to make sure that I'm really staying under the ball to generate that backspin. And as far as the side spin, I like to think of it as kind of like carving around the ball, almost like a half circle. It's not quite that way, but that's kind of how I visualize it in my head as I do the stroke. For the wrist on this one, I like to keep it pretty locked. Generally, for most serves, I'm using lots of wrist, but with the shovel serve in particular, I like to use my forearm and my upper arm to kind of generate that spin and just kind of carve around that ball again. Lastly, stay close to the table after the serve, because the ball will generally be returned with a push, either that's long or that's short, and in either case, you'll want to stay close to the table as a follow-up shot. That's all for this week's video. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions or serve requests, put those in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week.